Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Home. And Home is an acronym standing for Healing of My Emotions by Hadassah, where we fix what home broke and we believe that healing is very much possible. I usually have a separate segment called Conversations, and there I do very short and precise videos, and like the YouTube channel where I have a bit longer videos. But I think everything, even this one, will count for whole conversation. It's just a conversation on wholeness, because that is what my content is centered around. I don't know how my lighting is. I don't know. I feel like I'm clear, and the sun in Nairobi is hotter than your girlfriend. Man, it's really hot. Yani, the only other competition is me. It's me versus the sun. Compare Rosafi. Anyway, I don't know how my lighting is. Anyway, I think I'll just work with that. So what I was saying is that my content is centered around heart healing and emotional well-being. We are or this community of ours is cognizant of the fact that we cannot do life and we are not impacted emotionally. People are gonna live our lives. We are going to be rejected. We are going to be heartbroken. God forbid, but we can lose a loved one. People are gonna will happen. We'll start things and they'll not prosper or succeed as we hoped, and all those things, they impact on our heart and our emotional well-being. Therefore, the need to tend and to take care of our emotional well-being, our mental health, so that we are thriving in whatever area of our lives. You realize, when we are thriving emotionally, we have the resultant effect is joy and peace. And peace is just having a healthy emotional life. And when we have peace, then we are able to be productive, so that we are fruitful in everything that we do. Life is all integrated. We have our spiritual, we have our emotional, our physical life. We have a little guest here. Say hi.
Hiya.
Tell people to subscribe to my channel.
Subscribe to my channel.
What's the name of my channel?
It's called
Home
Boy
by Hadassah.
by Hadassah.
Okay, let me finish recording and then I'll call you. Tell my people bye.
Bye.
So yeah, that is what the kind of content I create here. So it's content that will help us tend to our hearts and our mental health. Today, I'll be talking about an interesting topic, and the reason that's why I'm calling it interesting is because I am a victim of whatever I'm about to discuss today, and that is overthinking. Like, I don't think if I'm a recovering overthinker or I'm an active overthinker, but I know I have that diagnosis. Like, I'm a self-diagnosed overthinker. I tend to really overthink and dwell on things that it becomes counterproductive. So that's what I'll be discussing today, and I'll discuss as a person who is recovering from it, so that if you are an overthinker, then you're going to resonate with me and not be and we are going to walk through this journey together, so that we can overcome overthinking. So we'll discuss what it is and how we can, the approaches or the tips that we can use to overcome overthinking. We'll start with the working definition of what overthinking is. So overthinking is the habit of excessively analyzing and dwelling on thoughts, often to a point of creating a cycle of worry and anxiety. It involves incessantly replaying past events or anticipating future outcomes without a proper resolution. Overthinking can get us caught up in a web of negative thoughts, leading to stress and mental exhaustion. Now, I want us to focus on the fact that it is excessive analyzing. There's nothing wrong with analyzing. Actually, if we are not analyzing situations, then what are we doing with life? But there's a point where you can overanalyze things that it becomes a paralysis. Yeah, I know you've heard of analysis paralysis, that actually you end up not doing anything because of over analyzing. I read a quote somewhere and it was so profound because the person was saying over analyzing is procrastination, because there are times when we can incessantly replay events and dwell on something that it derails our decision making process. Yeah, so overthinking is that excessive analyzing, and sometimes dwelling on past events or anticipating future outcomes that we are not able to arrive at a constructive resolution. And so when we keep replaying or revisiting what we cannot change, then it has its own consequences. It can have catastrophic consequences on our lives. And what overthinking does, it can affect us spiritually, because what happens is that for us to grow spiritually, we need to cultivate some spiritual disciplines. And one of the spiritual discipline is that we need to be in prayer. And what overthinking does, it diverts our focus from the present moment, and it hinders us from connecting with God. And if prayer leads me to connect with God, and if worship is something that makes me connect with God and grow spiritually, and I'm not able to concentrate, then I'll not be able to grow spiritually. You see, there's a phrase, or there's a let me call it a quote or a concept in the Christian circles that is called an eye single to his glory. And essentially, an eye single to his glory, it connotates that it's this aspect of having your eyes fixed, laser beamed, focused on the grandeur and the goodness of God. And if we are not able to do that because of overthinking, then we miss out on being and connecting with God. And what happens is that when we are not able to connect with God, then we start doubting. Overthinking leads to doubt and fear. So we'll start doubting God's word. We start doubting God's character. We lack trust and confidence in God's plan and purpose over our lives. Overthinking, or that constant analyzing or ruminating on negative thoughts, tends to undermine our ability to practice our spiritual disciplines that can lead to spiritual growth. Overthinking does not only affect us spiritually, but it also affects us relationally, because it leads to excessive worry and doubt about what others are doing, about their actions and their intentions about our lives. I'll give an example. There was a time during my birthday, I had poor, okay, and of course, you always have expectations from the person, your loved ones, or let me just say your partner, when it comes to birthdays or monumental days of your life, like anniversaries, birthdays, graduations, such kind of things. And this particular birthday, I don't know why I had a strong feeling, or rather I was just overthinking events, and I was feeling like, okay, it was a new relationship. It was a new relationship. And so I felt maybe this person is going to forget. But I had kept on telling him, my birthday is coming up, my birthday is coming, my birthday is coming. And for sure, and like, let me tell you, this male was serious. He was serious. Because on the eve of my birthday, just few minutes to midnight, he texted me and he wrote me a poem. Yeah, it's your birthday. But in my head, I was overthinking, like, if he does not do something for me, I mean, I don't want to preempt, but the future is not so clear. The future is not so clear if he was not gonna do something. And I kept overthinking, and I created scenarios in my head. I was like, he's not even mentioned about any plans of us even having lunch or dinner. And I thought about it and I dwelt on it, I started experiencing some emotions of resentment and anger. And I'm telling you, nothing had given me an indication that he was not gonna do anything. But I kept overthinking and overthinking. And on the day of my birthday, personally, I was working that day, so I went to work. And later on, I had organized a luncheon with my friends, so my friends were coming over to have lunch with me. And when all that was done, in the afternoon, when now I'm with my friends, I'm like, this guy is actually not even calling me. He's not even bothered to ask me what are the plans. So when it was around evening, I was like, I don't even think there's a plan here. And I was like, you know what? I'm not calling him. I'm not picking his calls until I get over this. And eventually, he called, I didn't pick his call. Eventually I said, okay, before I get angry, I get over angry. Let me call him and make sure that he's okay. Let me just call and make sure that I'm not here overthinking that he's not done something to me and maybe something happened to him. So I pick my phone, I call him and I'm like, hey, are you okay? He says, yes, I'm fine. Cool. I disconnect and I go to sleep. So I'm there, I'm mad. He's not done anything. He did not even call to check up on me during the day. This is my birthday. Now, I cannot have two birthdays in a year. This one has gone. So what are we even talking about? What are we even talking about? Anyway, the next day I thought about it and I said, let me give this guy an opportunity to let me hear him out. So he invited me for lunch. We went to a very nice place actually for lunch. And when I was expressing my frustration, he told me, you know what? I had not slept. I got home at around that Saturday of my birthday, on the day of my birthday. He had worked the whole night. That day was he had worked the whole night and he was getting home on the day of my birthday at around 9 a.m. So the whole day he was asleep. And I was there, I'm feeling, oh, baby, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I didn't know. You didn't tell me. And I felt so sorry. I felt bad that I had misinterpreted the situation. I had jumped into conclusions, and that was wrong of me. So, overthinking can lead to can strain relationships. It can strain relationships because we overanalyze, we put unnecessary pressure or strains to relationships because we are overthinking and we are over analyzing situations, and sometimes it could lead to unnecessary conflict, and sometimes we might not understand people because one of the things about overthinking is that when you're dealing with someone who is an overthinker, you always you always want to filter what you say. It always feels like you're walking on eggshells because you don't want to say something and then it is misinterpreted or it is blown out of proportion. So, and that is a very bad space to be in. Like, you're always watching what you want to say. I'm not saying it's bad for people to assess what they're about to say, but always, if you're overcautious and you always feel like you cannot freely express yourself because someone will take whatever you want to say out of proportion, I think that is a very tough place to be in. And so overthinking can affect us not just spiritually, also relationally, and it can also affect us as individuals. It can affect our emotional life, which can lead to feelings of worry, stress, anxiety, and feelings of overwhelm. This is the thing about overthinking. Rarely do we dwell on positive things. We just dwell on negative things. And sometimes the things that I don't want to diminish or to underestimate the probability of things happening in our lives, because sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. But sometimes we might be confusing smoke to fog to smoke, because sometimes you could just hear maybe someone has been laid off, or a certain company in your industry has had people being laid off, and you like, if those ones were let go, then it's me, and then I'll have to downsize. I'll have to go to a smaller house, or maybe I'll have to go to live with my husband's parents. Will need to go to up country, and then life will be difficult and there's no rain. So what will happen? I'm gonna lose my house, I'll lose my car. And you go into that rabbit hole, like you are just overthinking over things that you are essentially are not supposed to be overthinking. And it's important that we understand how we can manage overthinking, so that we do not get to a place of excessive worry and anxiety, which can mutate into depression. There's an interesting concept in neuroscience. It's called neuroplasticity. I got to learn about it a while ago, neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. And it's where our brains and thought patterns produce a hardwiring in our brains that eventually creates a default posture. So if we are constantly thinking about something negative, and those negative thoughts becomes a pattern, they become hardwired in our brains, and that becomes our default posture and the lens in which we see life. And it is our brain can be trained into so many things. There's a lady I watch on TikTok whose husband got a brain injury, and so because of the brain injury, the brain is not able to communicate to other parts of the body, like the limbs, the hair, the head, or the essentially the other parts of the body, so he's not able to move. But what I see the lady doing is that she keeps reminding him, whispering into his ears, do this, lift your hand, move your legs, so that in the brain, neuroplasticity, oh my god, I'm telling you, them, am I getting hot flashes? Am I in my menopause? Oh my god, when does menopause start? But anyway, so that is neuroplasticity, where you can train your mind to think about positive things, and that becomes now your default posture. Now, here are the tips on how to stop or to manage overthinking. One is to practice mindfulness, be in the present. And today was one of the days that I told God that I want to practice mindfulness. I was in church, and once in a while I felt like my mind is diverting, my focus is going, and I told God, I don't want to think about anything else. Right now, I'm in church, I'm here to pray, I'm here to connect with you, I'm here to worship. And so I will be present. I'll be, being mindful without judgment. You're not thinking, being present without any form of judgment. You're not thinking, how will this turn out after I leave this place? How will it be? Mindfulness. Then it's important to challenge negative thoughts. Most of the time, the thoughts that we are having, they're lies. Always when we get a negative thought, you need to counter it. There's someone who said that I only have 5 minutes to rehearse this, to think about negative things, and then I'm done. I challenge it, and I believe that it is a lie. Sometimes it's a lie from the pits of hell. It's the devil challenging you, telling you things about you that are untrue, and you know yourself. And other times it's other people's opinion. People who have not lived your life, and they have a say about your life, and you buy and we buy to their faulty opinions. Why can we do that? It's important to challenge negative thoughts. Then it's important to engage in self-care. Just take care of yourself, work out, eat healthy, be in the present, and finally practice gratitude. This has worked for me. This one I can attest for you. Every time I'm in a dark season of life, the only way I've come out of it is when I practiced gratitude. Because gratitude requires mindfulness. It requires you to be in the present, and it requires you to intentionally remember what God has already done in your life. Practice gratitude. Be in the present. Mindfulness. Create boundaries for rumination, and engage in self-care. I hope this helps. I hope this will be beneficial to you as we work towards healing and rewiring the patterns of our minds, of our brains, so that we adopt positive defaults rather than negative defaults. Thank you so much for listening. I always encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you think that this content is helpful and it's helpful to you and can be helpful to somebody else, kindly share. And until next time, God bless you. Bye bye.